this video we are facing off against I Am Not Charlie 247, and actually today I'm going to be treating you guys to two battles. So if you just want to sit back and enjoy that, you can stay. If you wanted to see one of them, you can. I'm going to be putting the longer battle first against this guy. But anyways, this is actually my very first time here using my brand new Mega Ampharos team. And if you didn't vote on the community tab, or if you didn't even see it, I did put out a poll where I put out four Mega Pokemon, and I let you guys decide on which one I would use. It was Mega Blastoise, Mega Ampharos, Mega Manectric, and I think Mega Houndoom. However, it looks like more than 50% of the people that voted wanted Ampharos, which is exactly why it's featured on this video. And this is probably going to be the team I will be using for quite a long time. So anyways, really this is a Trick Room team, and I will kind of explain how it's been structured the more we go through this video. So anyways, at the start he actually led with his camera up, which is his Mega, and I led with my Slowking here. And you know, I know it's too obvious that this guy's gonna switch, so I went right for the future side. And even if he didn't switch, I wasn't too worried because I wasn't too certain that camera up could do too much damage. And even if he could, Slowking does actually outspeed Mega Camera Up, which is kind of funny because Mega Camera Up only has base 20 speed, whereas Slowking has base 30. Now normally that would be really nice, however in this battle it's actually not so nice because I'm really relying on a Trick Room team where the slower your Pokemon, you know, the faster they are under the Trick Room. So he's actually going to be able to get a jump with his camera up under the Trick Room, which could be problematic for my Pokemon. So anyways, here on the Prima Arena, I decided to switch out into Klefki. Maybe not the best play, but I did want to get up spikes. I actually, truth be told, I probably should have been more aware of his Zapdos. However, I really don't focus too much on the team preview. That's definitely one of my weaknesses. And one thing I definitely want to do more so in the future battles is actually take a picture of the opponent's team, so you know, that way I can actually, you know what to expect. Because you know, if I knew he had a Zapdos, I probably would not be wasting as many turns trying to set up the spikes. But I do want spikes up so that when I actually get the Trick Room going, I can bring in my wall breakers like Cofagrigus and Ampharos, and I can just start, you know, dealing damage. And the spikes will definitely aid in the onslaught of the enemy. And it's a Pokemon like Ampharos with its electric typing would actually be really good under spikes. So anything that touches the spikes is probably going to be, you know, in 2-shot range to Ampharos's Dragon Pulse, and anything that's flying, you know, is not gonna like any electric type attack. So I kind of like that setup that I had there. So anyways, I actually realized that Slowking turns out to be an effective check to this Prima Arena, defensively at least. Now offensively I actually cannot touch it, which is a problem, but you know, that's definitely a benefit. And I did also paralyze him here, not because I needed any speed control, because really that's actually going to let the Prima Arena outspeed me under Trick Room. But I wanted to kind of shut down his Echoed Voice, because how that works is the more turns you use it, the more damage it starts, you know, doing. And if he gets paralyzed, it's gonna lower the damage. It's kind of like rollout. So if you're doing rollout, you're gonna do more damage each turn, but once you get paralyzed, you know, the damage multiplier is gonna lower. So anyways, I went into Reuniclus on his Prima Arena, so I wanted to go for Psyshock to hit him on his probably weaker defensive side. However, he switches out into the Zapdos here. But now I figured this is the ultimate opportunity to bring in Ampharos. Now, of course, unfortunately, he goes for the Defog, which isn't so fun. But I'm going to get off my Mega Evolution here, and I'm going to hit him with the Dragon Pulse, which is going to do some juicy damage. Now, my biggest mistake here was actually deciding to switch out, because I was thinking this guy is probably gonna outspeed me because he's base 20 speed. But I forgot that this game runs on a Gen 6 mechanic where you use your pre-Mega Evolution speed on the first turn. So actually Camerupt in base form is base 40. So actually, well, I guess it wasn't a mistake, because I mean Ampharos is 45, but if he had any speed investment, any IVs or anything, he would have actually been slower under the Trick Room. So I mean, actually I wouldn't say that's a big mistake. I'd say it's just kind of like, you know, a moderate mistake, could have gone good or bad. But I decided to switch out into the Slowking here, and of course I went for a Dragon Pulse on the Zapdos instead of a Wall Switch, because I know he has his ground type available, and he's probably going to try and bring that in if he can get it in for free. Just why I decided to go for the Dragon Pulse, because if he stays in with Zapdos, it's still going to do good damage, and he's not going to be able to do anything back. And if he goes into Camera Up, it's going to do huge damage, which obviously it did. So anyways, now I'm going for the Scald. And he actually is slower under the Trick Room, so I mean, in a sense, it wasn't such a bad play to I guess switch out. I'm not entirely too sure, but he does get his Thought Rocks off, which will kind of hurt. But I do have Hitmontop tailored to kind of take care of that with Rapid Spin, although this is definitely not the opportunity to bring it in, or so I think, because you know, it's kind of hard to know what to expect from Dragapult, because it could be a physical or a special set. But right there, I didn't think I would need Slowking as much anymore, because you know, the Camera Up was dead, and that was kind of what I wanted to kill from the start. So anyways, now I go back into Klefki, and I'm definitely trying to get this paralysis off if I can land it. However, he switches out into Zapdos. It is what it is. There's not, you know, too much I can do about this. I would have even tried to set up spikes. However, you know, this Zapdos would have just hard countered it. But I'm going to go into Reuniclus here, because I'm definitely going to try and get the Trick Room back up again, so I can actually start getting the jump on these Pokemon, and so that, you know, he won't be able to use his Dragapult as effectively. So anyways, on the same turn, he actually brings in his Hoopa Unbound, which is actually a banned Pokemon. It is an Uber, and for those reasons, you know, of course, it's no surprise that it's gonna hit really hard, because Hoopa's frail defensively. It doesn't have as great of a speed stat, but you know, it hits like an absolute truck. So this is gonna be quite problematic, and this is actually the special set right here. So you know, it's definitely not a pleasant thing for me to see. And anyways, here I'm just gonna try and get out the Rapid Spins. I'm thinking he might switch, worried that I might have something against him, which I clearly don't, as you can see. But you know, definitely having that element of pressure is pretty nice. So here on the Zapdos, I'm going to go back into Reuniclus. I wanted to get off those Thought Rocks so we wouldn't have to deal with it later on in the game. And now I'm definitely going to try and pivot out, because I'm expecting him to go back into his what do you call it? Oh yeah, Hoopa Unbound. And I'd say that's definitely pretty nice. Although, you know, we're not going to be able to hit it as hard as I would like, because, I mean, this Hoopa right here is going to be, you know, pretty specially defensive. So anyways, here I just go for the Wall Switch, just so I can get some damage in. And I'm going to go back into the Klefki, because ideally I want to paralyze this guy and kind of slow him down before he gets dangerous. So he withdraws here. And that's nice, because we basically got free damage on that Hoopa, and you know, I can always just bring back Ampharos on a Pokemon like Zapdos. It's kind of funny just how effective of a counter Mega Ampharos actually is. So anyways, he actually makes a prediction there and goes into his Hoopa Unbound, and now he's gonna fire off his full power Black Hole Eclipse, which does huge damage. And of course, we don't even get the KO. That's mildly painful, because now this Hoopa is gonna be, you know, wreaking havoc, destroying basically everything on my team. Although the good thing is also, at the same time, he doesn't have access to his Z move anymore. So now I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch. I actually don't know if I'm going to outspeed him or not, because I don't have speed investment. However, he switches out into the Zapdos, which is horrible for me, because, you know, now my Ampharos is really low, and it's not going to be able to effectively come in like it could back earlier in the earlier game. So now I'm going to go back into Reuniclus on the Zapdos. He goes into his Dragapult, which is once again really bad, because this can do some serious damage to me. And you know, he gets the special defense drop too, which means I have to switch out here unless I want to go down. Or, you know, I mean, it's not a guarantee I go down, but if I get a bad damage roll like I did against the Hoopa, I probably will be going down. So anyways, he pivots back in to the Zapdos, and I'm just going to go for a Toxic, because I want to put this on a timer, but of course, that's going to have to miss. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do now, because this is really not a good situation. So I go into Reuniclus. He goes for a Defog. I'm not entirely sure what that was about, but I'm not going to complain either. And here, I'm just going to go for a Trick Room so that I can actually get the speed. And that really is the difficulty of running a Trick Room team in singles. It's really difficult to operate. When you're playing in doubles, it's a lot better, but like this team really relies on being able to use Trick Room, and like without it, you know, a lot of these Pokemon are in danger. And another problem too is with all these Psychic type Pokemon, like really to get Trick Room most of the time you need to run a Psychic or even sometimes a Ghost like Cofagrigus. But a lot of these Pokemon are weak to dark type attacks. So something like Koopa, which has a Psychic immunity and, you know, can hit super effectively and outspeed and has such a high or just overall high offensive stats, is a huge problem for anything in this team. Reuniclus does not like this, neither does the Cofagrigus. Now for some reason I actually think I resisted that Dark Pulse. I'm not entirely sure what's messed up with the mechanics in this game, but you know, that's definitely odd. However, we are now paralyzed. I forgot where that came from. It might have been the Zapdos, but you know, that's definitely not great because we do want this Reuniclus to have some good HP. So he goes into his Jirachi, and unfortunately for us, we're gonna keep flinching. There's not much we can do about that, and Reuniclus is gonna go down. Now I could have switched out, although I really didn't want to. Because, you know, I know for sure that really my last chance at winning this is breaking through this guy's team with Cofagrigus. I want to just try and go for an all-out sweep right here. So anyways, he goes for a Roost, and I'm going to follow up with a second Nasty Plot under the Trick Room. Now, of course, we are going to get paralyzed, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is. I'm going to blast off a never-ending nightmare just so I can break through this Zapdos with all the power I can get, and that is enough to finish the job, which is great. So now he goes into his Hitmontop Unbound. Really not a bad play because this thing was gonna die anyways. So we're gonna definitely finish this off here with the hidden Power. Although unfortunately, that is just when we run out of Trick Room turns, and that's unfortunate for me because, you know, I'm paralyzed. You know, I can't really do much here, and this Dragapult, you know, is at full HP and, you know, ready to clean. So maybe my timing on the Trick Room was not the best. I probably could have waited a couple more turns, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go into the Hitmontop here. He's gonna fire off a Shadow Ball, and it's gonna be enough to take me out. But now I get back in the Klefki, and I really just want to paralyze this because, you know, this Dragapult is a problem, and if I can do damage to it, I will try and do damage to it. So anyways, he goes into his Primarina here. Things are not looking good for us. I want to go back into Cofagrigus to try again to set up the Trick Room and, you know, maybe go for another sweep. Now on the Cofagrigus, he sets up a substitute, which is too bad, and now he's gonna go for a Moonblast, which brings me really low. However, we do get up the Trick Room. So anyways, now I'm gonna hit him with another Shadow Ball. I don't know why I considered switching on the Klefki there, but you know, there's probably a reason. I think I was considering sacking it so I can get Ampharos in and keep Cofagrigus alive. However, I realized it's probably not worth it because Cofagrigus is at 30 HP and already paralyzed. But now we got the Trick Room up and Ampharos can come in. Really, I'm just counting that he gets paralyzed this turn or switches out so I can pivot back into Klefki. However, unfortunately, he stays in and he finishes the job with a Moonblast. So really, all I have left now is Klefki. It's generally hopeless for me because even if I get past this Primarina, I'm probably not going to get through whatever else this guy has. And he goes into his Jirachi here, which basically is going to mean it's over for me. But I do go for the paralysis anyways. He goes for a Healing Wish. I'm not entirely sure why he decided to do that instead of just finishing me off with, you know, like a Fire Punch or something. But you know, it is what it is. And he goes for a Flamethrower. Now unfortunately that battle cuts out, but that right there was GG. If you guys have watched enough PvP videos on this channel, you know I don't take that. So we're going to be basically rerunning the same match here, except instead of Hitmontop, I decided to put in Mandibuzz because that really feels like the missing piece to this team. And really, when you're team building, a lot of people ask me, but how do you team build? And really a lot of it also just goes down to experience because, you know, you can get a team, but you actually have to battle and kind of find out the weaknesses throughout the battle. And one thing I noticed for sure was I was weak to Dragapult, really weak to Dragapult, and really weak to Hoopa. And the perfect answer to that is going to be Mandibuzz because of its dark typing. Really any dark type would have been good. However, I did also want to get the utility of hazard removal, and Mandibuzz proved to be able to actually offer that along with other benefits. So it actually just happens to be a perfect fit for this team. Now this Mandibuzz will be a different set because I wanted to kind of mix things up, and I gave it 0 speed so it can function better on this Trick Room team, and it also is going to be specially defensive because, you know, I definitely think I will need that on this team. I already have, you know, physically defensive Cofagrigus, and special defense seems to be more important, especially in this matchup. So anyways, here he's gonna go for the Mega Evolution. I actually go for the Skull because I'm thinking he might actually predict me, predicting him to switch out. So I wanted to go for the Skull. I was thinking, well, he might actually try staying in here if he tries to predict me, and I did get that prediction right, and that's gonna go a long way because this Camerupt is going down to the ground, and that's great because this is definitely a threat. So, you know, I know for sure now I can definitely start spamming Trick Room again because, you know, his one, you know, anti-Trick Room Pokemon, as in like something that can actually punish me, is dead, and that's gonna be really sweet. So anyways, here he goes into the Hoopa Unbound, and I want to try and fire off a T-Wave here. So I'm thinking he's probably gonna go for a Nasty Plot, so that just makes perfect sense in this situation. However, I was foolish enough not to remove the Assault West on this Slowking, and I mean, well, I guess not really foolish not to remove it. I was just foolish enough to have T-Wave on it instead of Dragon Tail. I'm not sure why I switched it out. Dragon Tail would have actually been perfectly fine here. So then I could have just, you know, knocked him out and then shut down his Nasty Plot attempts and got another potentially good matchup so I could fire off a standard attack. So anyways, Mandibuzz is gonna have to come in here, and it's actually, you know, really good against Hoopas. I have U-turn if I want to do 4 times super effective damage on his base 60 defense, but I also have Foul Play, which I think will actually potentially hit harder. So he goes for a Focus Blast. Good thing is he misses, although my Foul Play does no damage. I don't know what that is with this game. There's something messed up here with, you know, the Dark type against Psychic types, but I decided to go for a U-turn. It's going to be able to finish a job against this Hoopa Unbound. That's actually the first time I've seen it do more damage than the Foul Play, but, you know, I'm definitely going to take that. Although I still would have thought that Foul Play would do more damage because, I mean, Stab coming off of Mandibuzz, it's base like 90 or 95 power, and, you know, Hoopa has a huge monstrous attack stat. I think it's like 165 or 175. It's one of those. I know its special attack and standard attack are incredibly high, which is why, you know, I'm kind of surprised that was still as weak as it was. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyways, I decided, well, the Camerupt is dead. Ampharos is going to want to try and come in here, and he ends up going into his Dragapult. So I'm not going to Mega Evolve in this turn. So I'm thinking if he goes for a Dragon Dart, expecting the Mega Evolution, he's going to get super effective damage. And that's actually great because he goes for a U-turn here. I guess he was thinking I might have gone scared and switched out. But because I stayed in, he hits my Ampharos and actually gets affected by the static, which is crazy. I definitely love to see it. That's one of those times you actually see the pre-Mega Evolution ability coming clutch. And, you know, we're going to get a Dragon Pulse off on this Zapdos, which still does considerably high damage. So, you know, I can't really complain, especially considering that that's coming off base Ampharos without Stab. So anyways, here, I figured it's time to go for a Wall Switch. I know he's probably not going to try and stay in on this. There's no way he'd want to have to stay in on this Ampharos when he can't do anything to it. Heat Wave, Hurricane, Wall Switch, Discharge is not going to touch Ampharos. And, you know, I get that prediction right once again. I think he was expecting me to follow up with a Dragon Pulse, but I really don't need to follow up with a Dragon Pulse because, you know, Wall Switch and T-Bolt are going to do the same amount of super effective damage. So anyways, the Mega Evolution is pulled off, and I fire off the Wall Switch. Now, unfortunately, that's not going to be enough to KO. I'm not sure if T-Bolt would have KO'd, but I think it would have been a one-shot. However, you know, it's still fine because, you know, that's juicy damage right there. He's only going to be able to get off one substitute, and things are definitely looking bright for us right now. I mean, truth be told, though, I will have to say I am surprised of how bulky Primarina actually is. It's definitely an interesting Pokemon that I might even consider trying out myself in the future. But now, I'm going to bring in the Cofagrigus. I want to rerun that matchup he had before, and I definitely want to get my revenge because now, you know, he doesn't have that Hoopa available. Neither does he have his, well, I guess Camerupt wouldn't matter too much, but, you know, I'm going to be able to get my Trick Room off, and I'm going to be able to destroy things. And that's why I like Cofagrigus. You really don't see it every day, but it's actually a really underrated Pokemon in my opinion. It's difficult to use. I wouldn't say it's easy. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but you know, if you use it effectively, even against some of the best, like this guy, you know, it could do monstrous damage. So here, he's gonna go for his Moonblast, of course, and that's gonna do some juicy damage. It takes me down to 92 HP. But now, I'm gonna treat myself to a Shadow Balls. I figured he's actually gonna die to that right there. But he decides to switch out and go into the Zapdos, which is fine because Zapdos ain't gonna like this Shadow Ball. It's basically gonna go down here to round 2. So really I was thinking, is he gonna switch out into something else and sacrifice something, or is he gonna let the Zapdos go down? If the Zapdos goes down, that's gonna be great because then I can start stacking my spikes, and you know, he won't be able to do anything about that. If not, you know, it's also fine because something's gonna take damage. But he decides to sacrifice the Zapdos, which is what I like to see. And we have one more turn remaining of the Trick Room, which is absolutely excellent. So we're gonna have to see what he decides to send out. He decides to send out the Jirachi here, and you know, I'm not too confident in the power of Shadow Ball. I'm considering it. However, I decide maybe this is the time to fire off the Z power, and if he pivots out, it's fine. I mean, I only really have one more turn of Trick Room up, and you know, he's probably gonna be able to bring in the Dragapult later, which should probably outspeed even under the paralysis, because I mean, Cofagrigus is just that slow. So the Trick Rooms unfortunately end. However, we definitely secured ourselves an excellent matchup in this battle. I mean, the Primarina has gone down. I mean, all he has left is his Dragapult at full HP, and that has paralysis. So this really could even be, you know, a full sweep. Now I could keep the Cofagrigus in. It doesn't really serve too much more of a purpose here unless I get Trick Room back up. Although, you know, I'm trying to get a clean sheet here, which is why I decided to switch out into the Mandibuzz, because I know Mandibuzz will outspeed Dragapult, even if it's paralyzed, and you know, I could just roost off most of the damages, or so I like to hope. So he goes for a Max Phantasm, and this Dynamax move unfortunately takes a ridiculously long time to actually do its damage. That's why I don't really like Dynamax. I mean, don't get me wrong, it can be clutch in some battles, although it definitely can also be annoying, like in this one right here. So anyways, the animation is gonna keep going. It looks really weird too, but you know, it connects and doesn't even do that much damage, and he also gets a defense drop, which is great. So I'm gonna restore some HP there, and oh, okay, oh, never mind, I don't even know what's happening there. I think I decided to just fire off a Foul Play instead of going for a Roost here, because I just want to get as much damage as I can, especially since this guy is on his Dynamax, and he goes for a Max Wormwind. So I'm not entirely sure what move that was, if it was Draco Meteor, if it was Dragon Darts, if it was something else, but that's definitely interesting. I did not know he packed a dragon move on that bad boy. So anyways, the animation is looking really weird here. I don't even know what that is, but I'm going to bring in the Klefki, which should win me the game, because you know, it's going to be able to one-shot this Dragapult, and you know, that's definitely nice, because you know, if he didn't one-shot the Dragapult, he would have probably finished me off himself with his Inferno Overdrive, or whatever the fire type move is. So I'm going to go for Play Rough. Unfortunately, it misses, and I have the worst luck with Play Rough. I always say it. I have better luck with Focus Blast than I do with Play Rough. And the good thing is he doesn't go for any healing move. Not that Primarina learns anything, but you know, in case it did, that would have sucked. And I'm able to finish him off here with the Play Rough. So that right there is GG.